Hi, today let us discuss about procedural versus OOPS approach. The difference between procedural and OOPS approach. In the procedural approach, as the name suggests, emphasis is on writing a procedure. It means that how to accomplish a task. Whereas in object-oriented programming, it's all about creation of an object and a related interface and the events that occur on those objects. The next one is in the procedural programming, large programs are divided into smaller programs known as function, which is basically the unit of a procedural programming. Whereas in object oriented programming, the programs are divided into smaller unit known as object. Then a procedural programming concentrates on creating functions, whereas in OOPS the concept is focused on both data and function. Procedural programming, the data of the program is separated from the operations, whereas in the object oriented programming the data and the functions are tied together in a single unit known as class. In procedural programming, the most of the functions share global data, hence it should not be altered directly. If you alter directly, the program will produce erroneous result because there may be lot of dependencies on global data in and through the program. Whereas in object oriented programming, the data is hidden inside an object and cannot be accessed by external function. And very particularly procedural programming, it uses top down approach, whereas object oriented programming, it uses bottom up approach. Procedural programming, the new and the data function cannot be added easily in the program in this particular programming approach, whereas in object the new data and functions can be easily added in this approach. In procedure programming, the function transforms data from one form to another, whereas in object oriented programming, the objects communicate with each other by message passing. The in the procedural programming, the complexity of the program is increased, whereas that can be easily managed in object oriented programming. In procedure programming, we do not we do any change in the program that affects the whole program, whereas in object oriented programming the changes can be done without affecting the rest of the program. Very particularly, the relationship of data and the function in procedural programming is given as here. So here in the procedural programming, the global data are used by several functions, and the function 1 can make use, function 2 and function 3 can make use as shown here. Function 1, function 2, function 3 can use the same global data, and that can also modify, which will produce an erroneous result. Whereas in object oriented approach, the data and the function have a relationship in such a way the data and the functions are tied together. So for this object, a group of datas and functions are there. Similarly, for other object, a group of data and group of functions are there. Similarly, for object C, we have a set of functions and data. Now, object A cannot access the members of object B without a valid permission. So the concept of message passing is used. Object A will take a permission from object B to use its data members. Similarly, object C and other things. So the relationship of the data and the function is strongly tied together in object oriented programming approach.